Hello and welcome to Fast Horses Today for Friday the 13th. Yes, Friday the 13th. It is June 13th. Let's see if we can get some luck on this day. So Santa Anita's got a pretty good card for their Friday program, and some nice competitive races. I do have a horse that I like later in the card, and I'm going to single and make a win bet, and it's also going to prompt me to make a late pick 5 here because of that horse. So let's get started here. I'm going to skip over the first several races, going to go to the fifth race. Fifth race does start out the late pick 5. Fifth race is a 6 furlong on the flat grass. This is a California first level allowance. These are 3-year-old fillies, so interesting that they can card a 3-year-old only race at this time of the year. You know, good for them. And if you got a filly that's a 3-year-old Calbred, it's pretty good for you as well that you're able to get into this restriction here. So competitive field, big field, 9 horses, which is nice. Get a pick 5 started off. I'm going to go with the bottom 3 horses to try to get this started. I'm going to go with the 7, who is tight squeeze for John Sadler and Hector Barrios. Barrios has had the call both times in this horse's career. This horse is 2-1 here in the program. I expect this horse to be the favorite. Ran a really nice race first time out, getting the job done as a maiden. In her first start, closed a lot of ground on the stretch. Nice speed figure. They brought her back at the same, grass course, flat grass. She ended up running even race coming forth in her California allowance first level try. So she was a favorite that day. Just ran sort of evenly. I'm not going to, knock her too much there, but she'll probably improve in her third start here. So 2-1 in the program, definitely worth putting in. Going to also put the 8 horse, who is Hurricane Layla. Hurricane Layla is trained by Antonio Garcia and owned by Antonio Garcia. Horse ridden by Armando Ayuso today. Now, Garcia's been doing pretty well these last couple months. I know that he's a good trainer. I've spoke very highly about him. And, he had a bit of a cold streak there earlier this year. And he had reported that he had a sickness running through his barn, earlier this year, which certainly makes sense because his horses were not running too well. But I think that's all long gone. And his horses have run a lot better. So, including Hurricane Layla. She had gotten out first time in her career back in mid-May, so just a few weeks back. They're bringing her back in less than a month, which is nice. She had gotten the job done on the dirt with a nice speed figure, and she was a favorite that day, so word was out, and she got it done, winning by open lengths. So a couple changes here for Hurricane Layla. She goes to the turf and also gets a rider switch. Armando Ayuso takes the call today, so I think both of those things should be just fine for her. She does have some turf breeding, and the way she ran last time, being on the turf should be no problem for her. She's 7-2, so we'll put her in. And then finally going to put the 9 horse, who is Ellen Jorth. Ellen Jorth for Phil D'Amato and Antonio Fresu. Now, they paired up to win in this horse's first start in her career. She ran on the turf back in late May, so she's coming back in a couple weeks, about 2 weeks. So quick turnaround here. She got the job done pretty nicely in her career debut. Nice speed figure there. She ended up running in a live race. I see Darlin Tammy came out of that race, and Darlin Tammy broke my heart yesterday by beating my long shot by a nose there. So, Darlin Tammy might be better than I originally thought, but she comes out of that race. So Ellen Jorth, she's 3-1. Fresu. I think the 7, 8, and 9, one of them should get this pick 5 started. Let's go to the 6th race of the day. 6th race is a 5.5 furlong dirt race. These are 8,000 open claimers, fillies and mares, 3 and up. And, interesting band of horses for this race as well. I'm going to put 3 horses in here. I feel like one of these 3 should advance the ticket. Going to go with the 1, Smile Baby Smile, for Andy Mathis and Ricardo Gonzalez here. Now, this horse takes the drop. She's been running in California California first level allowance races. And interestingly enough, she's a Kentucky bred and she was in those races. So it's because of her breeding, probably the way they did her full papers, that she qualifies, in these Calbred races. So Mathis drops her into this open claiming, and, it's probably just a case of she ran okay in these California allowance races, kind of just some even races. They're just getting realistic, and, just maybe want to win a race. If you want to claim the horse for 8, be their guest. I think her challenge is that she's coming out of mile races. She shortens up to 5.5 furlongs, so she probably is going to need some help from some of the others, maybe cooking it up early, getting a good position. But 4-1, we'll put Smile Baby Smile. Going to also put the 3 horse, who is Stellar Cap, for Gary Studi. And Batista takes the call. Now, Batista, 7-pound apprentice. I know they paired up for a nice win a few weeks back. So Studi likes, I think, riding this apprentice. And he's done a really nice job, the apprentice Batista. He's won some nice races in this Santa Anita spring-summer meet. So definitely one to watch here, I think. And this horse is 5-2. Shows some speed, which is always a good thing in these lower-level races, that they get out, they get a nice position, and can finish up. So 5-2, we'll put Stellar Cap. And then finally, I'm going to put the 7 horse. 7 horse being High Gunner for Van Belvoir, and Van Belvoir puts Kazushi Kimura on the horse. Now, this horse comes out of the some races over at Turf Paradise. Now, what I've noticed is the Turf Paradise shippers have not fared all too well at Santa Anita, but, I think if you spot them in the right places, they can win. So, Van Belvoir is a trainer who's been around for a long time, and, certainly knows his way around winning races, has done, won races for a long, long time. And I think he spotted this horse correctly. This horse had been running in 10,000 claiming races over at Turf Paradise and running pretty well. So I think this drop to 8 should suit this horse. High Gunner, Kazushi Kimura, as I mentioned. Kimura is always dangerous in any kind of race. This guy just loves to ride and tries really hard. So we're going to put the 7, High Gunner, in there. So we'll have the 1, the 3, and the 7 in the 6th race. All right, now let's move over to the 7th race of the day. The 7th race is a mile on the grass, and this is the 3-year-olds only, and these are first-level allowance horses, or there's also an option to be claimed for $100,000. Now, I do have a single in this race. I'm going to also make a win bet here. So I do like the 3 horse, who is Day and Age, for Richard Mandela and Mike Smith. Now, this horse, started his career. He was running up against, the promising 2-year-olds last year in the dirt races. And, you see some of the horses that he ran with, running with journalism. I mean, and not running a bad race with journalism either. And then, coming into this year off a pretty, several month layoff, this horse ended up going up against Goal Oriented, which Goal Oriented we saw running in the Preakness Stakes. So, some nice 3-year-olds that he ran with. And, when they put this horse on the turf first time, which was his last start back in April, this horse ended up wiring a field of maiden special weights in a very nice race. And, he ended up getting pushed by a horse. It was a Baffert horse, Mutas. Mutas is a nice horse who came back to just get beat as well on the turf in a try to front running style there. Mutas did. So Day and Age, nice horse. I like the stride on this horse. If you look at it on paper, you see, the horse held on to win by a nose. But I felt like this horse had a whole lot more to give. And as we've seen, Mike Smith put some really good rides on horses on the turf nowadays. Smith's certainly a very capable rider. He's probably in the twilight of his career, as we can imagine here at his age, but still riding well. And I think I give him even a more nod when he's on the turf. I think he does really well in these grass races. So Day and Age is 5-1. Smith seems to have found the keys with this horse because he got the win here. I think 5-1 is probably a fair price and probably what you'll get on this horse. So I'm going to make a win bet, and I'm going to single Day and Age, the 3 horse, in the 7th race. All right, now let's move over to the 8th race of the day. 8th race of the day, it is a 2nd-level allowance race, and this is 6 furlongs on the dirt. And, we've got some very, very interesting horses here from just, to watch them run, also from a betting standpoint here. Nice field they put together here. And, I wonder if the racing secretary is carding some of these and, maybe leaning on some of these trainers to get their horses in here. I see that, a couple of these horses are in for the 80,000 claim where there is an option there. And that's what helps fill the race. And I think that trainers just need to get a little more realistic with their horses, and put horses up for these claims. We'll see if somebody takes them. I don't know that they always do, but certainly fills races and, makes for nice betting opportunities here. And I think that's the case here. So I'm going to put 3 horses in. I'm going to put the 2 horse, who is Eagle's Flight. Eagle's Flight, if you look at the breeding, look at the horse here, this is Flightline's younger brother. And, Flightline's younger brother here, Eagle's Flight, has shown some flashes of talent and also shown some flashes of just being maybe, just a run-of-the-mill horse. But, he's had 4 starts in his career, 2 wins, a 2nd, and a 3rd. So, 4-year-old colt, makes me feel like this horse, Sadler Barnes had a hard time, keeping them together and keeping them race ready because it's a pretty lightly raced colt here for 4 years old, only having 4 starts. So he shortens up to a sprint here. Been running in longer races, which was probably always the goal with a horse like this, is to get him going 2 turns. But you know what? Maybe they're restarting him here. They got him at here at 6 furlongs in the dirt, 3-1. Umberto Rispoli takes the call again. Rispoli had one on him, so we'll see. We'll put Eagles Flight in here. Gonna also put the 3 horse, who was Hijazi, for Bob Baffert and Juan Hernandez here. Now, if you look at Hijazi, you might remember this guy. He's a 5-year-old now, been off for a pretty long time, and I had read several months back that Baffert was going to be bringing back older horses off layoffs to come run in races, which is not something that you really see him do. But I mean, this is an example here. This horse was paid. They paid $3.5 million for this New York bred. Zidane Racing Stables has. Zidane Racing Stables definitely puts the money down in the auctions. This is an example. So Hijazi 6-5. Question mark is, Hijazi hasn't run since January of 2024. And that was only start he had in 24. You got to look back to 2023 with his starts. So he's a lightly raced colt himself, or a horse. Shows some nice workouts, as several of them do. So we'll put Hijazi in here, see if he's ready to run. And then I'm going to put the 6 horse. 6 horse being Traegar. Traegar for Mark Glatt and Mike Smith. Now Traegar kind of fits a similar profile where he's been off for a long time. He had one start. He ran up against Judge Miller and Bonnick, and Bonnick is in this race as well. Traegar was supposed to be a nice horse when he first started his career. Mike Smith was on him back then as well, and obviously some things happened where this horse hadn't been around for a while and was on the bench for quite a long time. And this horse had quite a long layoff. Like I mentioned, they brought this horse out first time in 2025. We hadn't seen him since November of 23 back at Churchill, which was a win. So he had that start in early May. Ended up running in a pretty tough allowance race as a comeback. He ran an even race. So this is his second time off the layoff. They're putting him in for the 80. That's why the horse qualifies. And again, I like it. As a horse player, I like it. I mean, if you're the owner of the horse, I don't know if you're comfortable losing the horse for 80 or not. Apparently they are, since they're putting him in. But this horse is 6-1, so we'll put Traeger in here. That's the 2, 3, and the 6 in the 8th race. All right, now let's go to the last race of the day, which is the 9th race. This is a 6.5 furlong flat grass event. These are maiden $50,000 claimers, and it's 3-year-olds and up. And, these are your horses that couldn't get it done at the allowance level in and around Southern California. And, this is their next step, running in these maiden claiming races for 50. So as we've witnessed pretty much all meeting, a lot of chaos happens in these the last race of the day over at Santa Anita. Happens quite often. So I feel like this is one of those kind of races as well. I'm going to put 5 horses in this race to try to cap off this pick 5. Hoping we get that single in and get a live ticket and got 5 horses in coverage. We'll see if we can get it done here in this 9th race. So I'm going to first put the 2, who is Quick Question from Mark Glatt, Kazushi Kimura here. Horse has been working out okay. We'll see. It's the kind of thing, the horse gets a good trip, might be able to finish up here in his first start. Kimura is certainly good rider, as I mentioned. I'm going to put the 4 horse was War to Remember for Peter Miller. Now, this is a horse who had been running in special weights. Did try a couple of the restricted maiden claiming races, is now in for the 50,000 tag. Hernandez takes the call here, 9-2. We'll put this horse in. He does show speed. Maybe he could take him to distance here. I'm going to put the 5 horse, who is Tease Touch, for Phil D'Amato. Now, this horse, we haven't seen this horse in just over a year. It was early May of last year. He ran a nice second, and I had actually put this horse in my reminder email when this horse would run, waiting for him. And I see he comes back here for a 50,000 claim. He's 2-1 in the program for Phil D'Amato and Umberto Rispoli. I will put this horse in because I know I saw talent, but going to put several horses in here because I don't know that he's worth a single. So we'll put the 5 Tease Touch. Going to also put the 8 horse, who is Video Review for Doug O'Neill, Antonio Fresu. This horse also comes off a layoff. Last time we saw this horse was Halloween of last year over at Del Mar. This horse has had 3 starts, all in maiden special weight races. They've made several changes with this horse. Taking the blinkers off, this horse is coming in a little bit lighter, having been gelded, and Fresu takes the call, where last year it was Hector Barrios riding the horse. And they're putting a horse in for 50,000 claim, as I mentioned. So this horse is 6-1. Video Review, maybe off the bench, as I mentioned. We do see chaos in these races. This horse certainly could be good enough to win here. And then finally, I'm going to put the 10 horse. 10 horse being Smiling Tizzy. Smiling Tizzy for Phil Oviedo. Phil Oviedo runs a small barn, but certainly, will win a race here and there. He puts Kyle Frey on the horse. This horse had tried the maiden special weight ranks, had run some even races, did try the claiming ranks and ran a little better. So maybe this $50,000 tag, where this horse had run in a little higher claiming races, having run an 80,000 and 62.5. For 50, maybe, he might find his friends here at 8-1. So we will put the 10 horse who is Smiling Tizzy. So that's the 2, 4, 5, 8, and 10. All right, now let's recap the day and recap the bets. Okay, so for Santa Anita, Friday the 13th, we've got a couple bets here. First being the late pick 5, starting out in the 5th race. So in the 5th race, we're going to start out the pick 5 with the 7, 8, 9, with the 1, 3, 7, with the 3, with the 2, 3, 6, with the 2, 4, 5, 8, 10, and then we've got a win bet in the 7th race, going to bet the 3, who is day and age, like that horse today. So as always, if you see fit, you want to play the pick 5 as is, I wish you the best of luck. If you want to make the win bet, in the 7th race, the 3 horse, or, if you want to use these to play your own pick 5, pick 3s, pick 4 within it, I wish you the best of luck. Let's wish the folks over at Santa Anita a very safe day of racing today on Friday the 13th. Do me a favor, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, what are you waiting for? Please hit that subscribe button for me. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, and these videos get served up to you directly when they get created. I appreciate everyone who has hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much. You could make some comments, dislike, make poor comments, whatever you'd like. Let's create a discussion. So as always, I thank you so much for watching Fast Horses today. Let's wish ourselves some good trips, and we'll get some good results. So again, let's make this a great day over at Santa Anita and beat that Friday the 13th curse. See you back tomorrow for more coverage at the Great Race Place. Thank you.